This is not an easy speech for me to give. I am a private person by nature, and I have spent most of my life talking about the people that I represent, the issues facing our communities, and the work that continues to be done. Talking about myself has never come naturally. But I believe that I owe an explanation to the people of New Jersey's 7th District, to my colleagues in this chamber, and to the American people for my absence.
So that's Tom Kean Jr. He's a Republican congressman, and he's telling you why he was absent for 4 whole months. And now the brother doesn't want to talk about himself. That's why he's a politician. Wait, what? What was the mystery about? We're going to sort it out here. And is it right to criticize him despite his excuse? Anna, tell us more.
Oh, we're going to criticize him. Listen, I struggled with depression, especially in 2016. It was pretty bad. So I know how serious depression is. And I want to be clear that we are not going to chide him for struggling with depression, which is his excuse for not showing up to work. But I'm going to chide him for his past votes and also the fact that so many Americans, so many struggle with anxiety and depression and are expected to show up to work. And we do have a Congress that could provide paid time off for illnesses, mandatory paid time off for things like illnesses, childbirth, stuff like that. But it looks like he's not a big fan of those types of policies. We'll get to that in just a second. But first, here's the congressman describing his battle with depression.
Several months ago, due to health concerns, I entered the hospital for some testing. I did not believe that this would result in a long-term stay. I was given the diagnosis of depression. Now, when people hear the word depression, many people think simply it means feeling sad. But depression is so much more than that. It is physical, it is emotional, and until you experience it yourself, it is difficult to fully understand how powerful this illness can be. The doctors recommended that I remain in the hospital to address my illness. They explained to me that this would be the fastest way to recovery. And to be honest, I was hesitant. I didn't think that I had time for it. But as the over 48 million of my fellow Americans being treated for this illness have come to discover, there is no timeline for healing. There is no timeline for recovery. Only the work of getting better, one day at a time.
He even cited the 48 million Americans struggle with depression statistic, meaning he knows full well what Americans are going through in regard to mental health. I'm sure he knows nothing about, postpartum depression, which is sometimes so severe that, the mother will end up carrying out a terrible act as a result of that very, very terrible depression. Does he think that mother should have, paid time off after giving childbirth? No, he doesn't, based on the way that he has voted in the past. So before I get to that, Cenk, I want to give you an opportunity to weigh in on what he said on the House floor.
Yeah, I'm going to say something, I don't know if it's controversial or not, but
it's going to be controversial, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really believe him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not even sure what the odds are. I don't know if it's 50-50 or 70-30 in one direction or not, but he's a politician. They're giant liars. So if you said to me, generic politician says he was away because of depression, my first guess would be he's on drugs. Politicians haven't earned my respect or trust. So I don't believe, I'm not saying he definitely doesn't have it, but if we found out he doesn't have depression at all and this was a giant lie, I wouldn't be 1% surprised. And think about it, if you've done something that's gonna get you in a lot of trouble, what's the best excuse you could have? Depression, you can't criticize me, it's an illness, okay? In fact, you should have sympathy for me, right? But as you're about to point out, he doesn't seem to have any sympathy for anyone else. And if you're wondering, hey, why this brother says he doesn't even like talking and he doesn't like voting, he doesn't like anything, so why did he become a politician? He's a member of the elites. His dad was the governor of New Jersey and his grandfather was a longtime congressman from New Jersey. So he's like, well, this is how my family makes its money. We're corrupt, we become politicians, we sell you out to our donors, and then I don't even show up for work. So you expect me to trust this guy? I don't trust him one bit.
Was Tricky Harry Pazicki his father?
No. See, as it turned out, so we had this hilarious ad that Anna's referring to when I was growing up in New Jersey, and they were like Tricky Harry Pazicki, right? And
so good.
Yeah. It turns out Harry Pazicki was for getting money out of politics, and
no!
Yes, he was the good guy, and they were spending a lot of money to get us to believe that he was the bad guy and he was the one doing tricks. But remember, back then we didn't know that all the ads were a lie, all of the news was a lie. So that's the great irony.
That's terrible.
Yes.
That's terrible. Although it was a catchy ad. Anyway, getting back to Kean. So he has missed 142 votes in Congress. By the way, I'm shocked that Congress voted on anything during that time. He had been absent from the House of Representatives since March. The House floor speech you just watched was his first day back. Again, he missed 142 votes. And by the way, he was still receiving his full congressional salary. Keep in mind that Congress is on recess more than half of the year. So it's amazing to me that, he's been missing in action for this long. Now, making matters worse, during his 2 decades in the New Jersey Senate, he has consistently opposed paid sick leave for his constituents. He voted against Jersey's Earn Sick Leave Act, which mandates just 5 paid sick days per year for the state's employees. And when I say the state's employees, I mean workers in the state. I don't mean public workers only, workers in the state. He also voted against New Jersey's No Surprise Medical Bills Act and 2 of its paid family leave laws in 2008 and 2018. He voted in favor of Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which of course establishes work requirements for people who are so low income that they qualify for Medicaid. On Tuesday, he seemingly introduced legislation to provide cover for his pretty shady and hypocritical past, given how he wants empathy when his past shows that he had 0 empathy for his own constituents. So what he's proposing is called the Mental Health Parity Enforcement and Funding Act. And here's what he had to say about it. Yesterday, I introduced the Mental Health Parity Enforcement and Funding Act to ensure that Americans have access to mental health and substance use challenges. This is a cause that I championed in the New Jersey Senate, and I'm proud to help lead this fight in Congress. As we all know, it's easy to propose legislation, especially when you know that that legislation is unlikely to go anywhere, and this legislation is unlikely to go anywhere. But in the comments, many people are not buying it. In fact, one person says he only cares now because it's directly affecting him. It's the conservative way. To be fair, I think it's everyone's way. I think everyone is under a certain impression about any particular issue until it hits them. And then they realize, oh, I guess I was wrong. But I don't know if that's the case here. By the way, he wasn't too depressed to engage in stock trades while he was missing in action from Congress. So Kean signed off on 5 stock trades between April 14th and May 17th, according to the document obtained by Not Us, which reported it's the second time in 2 months he's filed a congressional stock disclosure form. The first he digitally signed on April 13th, and it indicated that he bought and sold shares of 8 stocks from mid to late March with a combined value of between $50,000 and $190,000.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God, I'm so depressed I can't do anything. Buy, sell, buy, sell. Okay.
I know.
Well, you're not too depressed to make money. So look, since he is a giant hypocrite who voted against paid family and sick leave, then he shouldn't get it. So he should pay back the 4 months of salary that he didn't show up to work. I mean, it was his idea that you're all bums and you don't need sick leave and you don't need family leave. And I presume he thought you were all freeloading or something. Hey, freeloader, why don't you give us 4 months of salary back? So you just expect us to give you a 4-month vacation? I mean, it's your ideology, right? That it's sick leave is not important. It's not important at all. Oh, but when it's you, we have to care. No, I don't care. Give me our goddamn money back. And then about the stock trading is absurd. And look, Anna, I don't even believe him, so I have zero sympathy for him. And if you find that outrageous, not you, Anna, but anybody watching out there, I remember we were covering Mark Sanford when he was the governor of South Carolina, and he was missing for quite some time, about a week or so, and everybody started to get asked questions. And then his staff put out a statement saying, oh, no, he's just been hiking on the Appalachian Trail for a week. And I said, no, he hasn't. That's an obvious lie, right? And I swear to you, at the time, there were people in media who were outraged by what I said. They're like, how could you possibly say that? That's the governor of South Carolina. You think he's making it up that he's been on the Appalachian Trail? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I do. And it turns out, of course he wasn't on the Appalachian Trail. He was with his Argentinian lover. He was on the Trail of Sun, okay, but it wasn't Appalachia. So these politicians are disgusting liars. And he's super happy to deny you sick leave and you family leave after you have a kid. But when it comes to him, no, zero sympathy. And why don't you give us back the money you made from stock trading when you were so depressed?
Yeah, I know. I mean, you make a great point. Now, he's getting some heat from members of his own party, which is really interesting because Lauren Boebert in particular is just continuing to take jabs at him. She says, I mean, sure, take care of yourself, get healthy, but who gets to take 4 months off of work because they're sad? I don't care what party you're part of, it's not okay. Now, of course, depression is much more severe than just being sad. So I wanna correct that. But nonetheless, she also says, I think not showing up for work is discounting the voters. True. It's not right, it's wrong. That is literally taxation without representation. It is absolutely awful. I can't imagine missing 1 or 2 days. This is honestly the only thing that's more shocking than the number of days Kean was missing in action is the fact that Lauren Boebert made a great point. She's right. I mean, he is shortchanging the constituents. And what's amazing about this, Cenk, is a Republican took jabs at him, but Democrat Representative Richie Torres slammed Boebert for her comments, telling TMZ, that's the world we're living in now, telling TMZ that she should be more compassionate and empathetic. But many feel just the way Lauren Boebert feels about Kean, missing this much time, showing up to work.
So Richie Torres is talking about 2 different Republicans, Boebert and Kean. So he could really take either side as a theoretical Democrat. So which side does he take? Well, Boebert did do one thing Richie Torres didn't like, which is she voted with the Democrats to release the Epstein files. And that hurt his beloved Israel. So she's wrong. And Tom Kean, of course, is a loyal foot soldier to Israel. So he doesn't really have to show up to work. That's okay. And to be fair to Tom Kean Jr. or in this case, actually, to be fair to the Israeli lobby, Tom Kean Jr. will vote for you as long as you pay him on any given issue, right? So really, what difference does it make if he's there or not? What difference does it make if any of these servants are there or not? They're not the ones making the decisions. Their donors make the decisions and say, hey, boy, go vote for oil subsidies. Go vote for not negotiating drug prices. Higher drug prices, boy. And Tom Kean Jr.'s job is to go, oh, yes, sir, of course, sir. I don't know, maybe his donors will spank him like, hey, we needed more corrupt votes. Get back in there and give me your goddamn vote. So
it might cheer him up.
Yeah, more money. That's the one thing that does cheer me up. Anyways, seriously, guys, look, this is important. There's 2 different issues in this story, Tom Kean Jr. and depression. So Lauren Boebert's totally wrong about depression. It's not just being sad, right? And you don't just not show up or have huge difficulties because oh golly gee, you're just not feeling that well. No, it's usually a chemical reaction. It is an illness. It is super serious. That's why I'm more angry at Tom Kean Jr. for hiding behind it when he had enough time to do stock trading and enough energy and et cetera to be able to do that and to serve all of his donors, but oh my God, golly gee, I just couldn't show up for this. Anyway, if he's telling the truth, then I have a slightly different point of view on it. But since he's a politician and I don't believe him at all, then that for me takes the depression conversation out of this issue. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. totally not true. But it does keep you updated on our live shows.